Have you ever wondered why you always fall for the wrong person, no matter how genuine you are? Maybe you've asked yourself, why does love always fade? What's wrong with me? If you've ever felt lost in your search for real love, you're not alone. And the answer is deeper than you think. Love, the most desired and yet confusing experience in life. You may give your all, try your hardest and still end up feeling empty. Maybe you've whispered to yourself, why do I keep attracting the wrong ones? Why do my relationships feel so hollow? Why does love always vanish? You're not the only one. Most people spend their lives chasing love from others, without realizing that the key to true love lies not in others but within. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, uncovered a truth that most of us ignore until you face your inner unconscious. Real love will always seem out of reach. So what is this truth? And why is it the most important thing you need to understand about love? Stick with me, because once you hear it, you'll never look at love the same way again. We've been taught that real love just clicks, that when it's meant to be, it'll feel easy. But here's the harsh truth. Love isn't failing. You're failing yourself. Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What does that mean? It means the way you experience love, the kind of people you attract, the dynamics in your relationships. None of that is random. It's all a mirror of your unconscious beliefs. If you feel unworthy of love, you'll attract those who confirm that. If you fear abandonment, you'll cling to relationships built on fear. If you seek validation, you'll chase love that always feels just out of reach. That's why some people jump from one toxic relationship to another. It's not just bad luck. It's a pattern shaped by what's hidden beneath the surface. Jung believed that our past shapes our relationships far more than we realize. The way you were loved as a child still shapes how you love today. Did you grow up with conditional love? Now you feel like you must earn it. Were you neglected or ignored? Now you chase unavailable partners. Did you grow up around emotional chaos? Now you unknowingly create drama. Jung called this part of us the shadow self, the hidden part that carries our deepest wounds, the part that craves love, but also sabotages it. And it gets even deeper. The people you fall in love with are not random. They are mirrors reflecting your unhealed parts. That's why you're drawn to those who hurt you in familiar ways. You stay, not just for them, but for the part of you still aching to be healed. So what happens next? And why does this magnetic pull toward the wrong people feel so real, yet so painful? So now we understand the people you fall for are not random. They're mirrors reflecting your unhealed parts. But it goes deeper. When your relationships feel like constant struggle instead of safety, it's not a coincidence. Those relationships are showing you the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Carl Jung said it best, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Every connection becomes a lesson about you. But here's the paradox. Everyone wants love, but when real love appears, most people push it away. Why? Because real love is uncomfortable. It asks you to be seen, to be vulnerable, to drop the masks you wear every day and show up as your true self. And if you've spent your whole life believing you're not enough, then real love feels dangerous. That's why people self-sabotage. They chase partners who never commit, because true intimacy scares them. They lose their identity in relationships because they lack a strong sense of self. They blame their partners, but in reality, they're projecting their fears outward. Jung believed that real love isn't about finding the perfect partner. It's about facing your own imperfections together. But most people aren't ready for that. They want the fantasy of love, not the mirror of love. So how do you break the cycle? How do you attract deep, lasting, authentic love? Jung believed it begins with one thing: facing yourself. Because the love you attract is a reflection of how you love yourself. If you settle for crumbs, it's because you don't think you deserve more. If you chase unavailable people, it's because love feels safer from a distance. If you sabotage good relationships, it's because you don't trust happiness to last. So, before asking, When will I meet the right person? Ask yourself, am I the kind of person who's truly ready for love? Real love isn't something you find. It's something you create from the inside out. Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams? Who looks inside awakens? This is the moment when most people turn back, because facing yourself is the hardest thing you'll ever do. But it's also the most liberating. Once you do, love will stop feeling like a battlefield and start to feel like home. Now, before we continue, let me ask, have you noticed these patterns in your own life? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. And if you're ready to unlock deeper truths about love, psychology, and human connection, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because this journey is only just beginning, as we've already uncovered. Real love starts not with finding the right person, but with becoming the right person. Yet, even after this realization, many people still fall into 3 dangerous traps that keep them locked in unfulfilling relationships. And if any of these sound familiar, it's a clear sign that your unconscious mind is still quietly running the show. Trap 1. The fixer syndrome. You meet someone emotionally unavailable, immature, maybe even toxic. But instead of walking away, you think, if I love them enough, I can fix them. Sound familiar? This is one of the most damaging illusions in love. You're not loving them for who they truly are, you're in love with their potential. You stay, even when you feel invisible. You tolerate behavior that drains you. You confuse pain with passion. Why? Because deep down, you believe love must be earned. You don't think you deserve love that comes freely, so you settle for constant proving. Carl Jung would say this comes from your inner wounded child. Maybe you had to earn love growing up by being good enough. So now, when love comes easily, it feels suspicious, unreal. How do you break free? Stop trying to fix people who won't fix themselves. True love doesn't feel like a war zone. It feels like peace. Trap 2. The endless chaser. Ever noticed how some people always chase those who don't want them? They're obsessed with emotionally distant partners. They crave validation from people who give them nothing. They see rejection as a challenge, not a warning sign. But this isn't love, it's a psychological trap. The moment someone pulls away, your wounds flare up. Your mind says, if I can just win them over, I'll finally be enough. But here's the dark truth. The moment they want you back, the thrill vanishes, because it was never about love, it was about proving your worth. Jung described this as projection. The more unworthy you feel, the more you're drawn to those who reinforce that feeling. How do you break free? Love isn't about chasing, it's about mutual respect and emotional connection. If you have to run after love, it's not love. Trap 3. The relationship escape artist. And now, the final trap, the trickiest of all. Because at first, it looks like strength and independence. We looked at how the third trap, the escape artist, disguises fear as independence. Now, let's dive deeper into why so many people unknowingly run from the love they crave. You tell yourself you're fine alone. You constantly spot flaws in your partner, using them as a reason to leave. You self-sabotage good relationships the moment they become too real. Why? Because deep down, intimacy terrifies you. Maybe someone once hurt you and now your mind protects you by creating emotional distance. Carl Jung believed we all carry shadow fears, parts of ourselves that act out in ways we don't fully understand. If you fear closeness, your mind will unconsciously push people away, even those who are good for you. So how do you break free? Begin by noticing when fear is making your choices. Real love always carries risk. But if you never open your heart, you'll never feel the depth of connection you're searching for. Now let's shift to healing the root cause. And here's the part most people get wrong. Healing isn't about reading more or listening more. It's about doing the actual inner work. It's about facing emotions you buried for years. Step 1. Identify your core beliefs about love. Ask yourself, what do I really believe about love? Do I feel worthy of love that flows easily? Do I sabotage healthy relationships? Your beliefs shape your reality. If you don't believe you deserve real love, your unconscious mind will ensure you never receive it. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Step 2. Face your emotional triggers. Every time you feel rejected, abandoned, or unworthy, don't suppress it. Sit with it. Feel it. Ask, where did this come from? Example, your partner doesn't text back for hours. Instead of assuming they're busy, your mind spirals, they don't care. I'll end up alone again. But is that really about them, or is it an old wound speaking? Unless you process those emotions, they'll control every relationship you enter. Step 3. Stop seeking love, start becoming love. This is the real secret. The love you long for is already within you. Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Love isn't about finding the right person, it's about becoming someone who can sustain deep, lasting love. When you heal, everything changes. You stop chasing, you stop settling, you begin to attract naturally because you know your worth. As you begin to heal, you stop repeating old cycles and you finally start building something real. But before we go on, I want to hear from you. Have you ever caught yourself falling into any of these love traps? Leave a comment below. I read every single one. At this point, you may be wondering, okay, I get it, I have unconscious patterns that shape my love life. But how do I actually break free from them? The answer comes down to two powerful tools: self-worth and shadow work. Most people think self-worth is about confidence, standing tall, dressing well, setting high standards. But true self-worth runs deeper. It's the internal stories you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening. It's tied to the shadow parts of yourself, the ones you don't want to admit even exist. Carl Jung famously said, everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. In other words, the parts of yourself you suppress don't disappear, they hide in the dark and quietly control your life. How you see yourself, who you love, and how deep your connections can go. So, what exactly is the shadow self? It's everything you've rejected, repressed, or denied about yourself. It's the part of you that feels unworthy of love, fears abandonment yet also fears closeness, seeks approval but pushes people away, acts confident but secretly fears you're not good enough. You don't show these parts to the world, you bury them. But the problem is, what you suppress, you project. Example 1, the fear of being unlovable. Maybe you grew up feeling that love had to be earned. Praise only came when you behaved, achieved, or met expectations. Now, as an adult, your shadow convinces you that real love must be hard to get. If affection comes easily, it must be fake. So, you attract partners who mirror that belief: distant, hot and cold, emotionally unavailable, and the pattern keeps repeating until you bring awareness to it. Here's how to start healing. Notice when you're chasing love that feels familiar instead of love that feels healthy. Stop confusing anxiety for passion. Healthy love feels stable, not chaotic. Give yourself the love and validation you keep trying to get from others. Example 2, the fear of vulnerability. Maybe at some point in your life, being vulnerable led to pain. We explored how old emotional wounds can lead to unhealthy love patterns. Now, let's dive deeper into one of the most common and painful fears we carry, the fear of abandonment. Have you ever opened your heart to someone only to be rejected or betrayed? Maybe you shared your deepest feelings and they laughed, dismissed, or walked away. You learned early on, showing emotions makes you weak. So your shadow stepped in, protecting you by turning you into someone who stays distant. You now feel drawn to people who don't demand vulnerability. You push people away the moment they get too close. How do you begin to heal that? Accept that real love always involves risk. You can't have deep emotional intimacy while staying hidden. Start small. Express how you feel in safe, supportive spaces. And remind yourself, just because you were hurt in the past doesn't mean you're doomed to repeat it. Next example, the fear of abandonment. This one runs deep. If you were ever emotionally or physically abandoned, your shadow built defense systems. You may become clingy, Fearing people will leave. You test others by creating drama trying to control the ending before it controls you. You even sabotage love to avoid the pain of being left behind. To heal from this, notice when that fear is making decisions for you instead of holding on to tightly. Build inner strength. Understand this truth. Being alone is not the same as being unloved. Once you begin doing the real inner work, shadow work, something profound happens. You realize you don't need to fix yourself to be loved. You just need to embrace yourself fully and unapologetically. Because love doesn't come to those who chase it, it comes to those who embody it. So how do you build real self-worth? Step 1. Rewire your self-talk. Your brain listens. Every time you say, "I'm not good enough, love never works out for me, nobody will love me the way I want," your subconscious takes it as truth and then builds a life that matches. Carl Jung said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." So, act like someone who deserves love. Speak to yourself with compassion. Treat yourself how you wish a loving partner would treat you, and never allow someone to treat you worse than you treat yourself. Step 2. Set boundaries without guilt. People with low self-worth struggle to say no. They accept poor treatment, fear rocking the boat, and allow energy-draining people to stay too long. But setting boundaries isn't pushing people away. It's teaching them how to love you. Here's how to begin. If someone makes you feel anxious, disrespected, or depleted, step back. If someone only calls when they need something, start setting limits. And this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll explore how to truly nurture a healthy love starting from within. We discussed how setting healthy boundaries and speaking kindly to yourself are foundational to building true self-worth. But there's something else. You must face something most people avoid: discomfort. Step 3. Learn to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. True self-worth isn't built overnight or through empty affirmations. It's built in the moments you face your fears head-on. Are you afraid of being alone? Spend time alone until it no longer scares you. Afraid of rejection? Put yourself out there and realize you can survive it. Afraid of getting hurt? No. This pain is temporary, but growth is forever. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And when you stop fearing your own darkness, you unlock true freedom. At this point, you may be realizing something powerful. The love you seek isn't about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right version of you. One who no longer repeats the same hurtful patterns. But here's the truth most people miss. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. If deep down you feel unworthy, incomplete, or fearful of abandonment, you will subconsciously attract relationships that reflect those inner beliefs. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So how do we finally break free from these cycles? Have you ever asked yourself, why do I keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners? Why am I drawn to people who make me chase them? Why do I sabotage healthy love as soon as it feels easy? This isn't bad luck, it's conditioning. Psychologists call this attachment theory, the idea that the way you received love as a child shapes the love you seek as an adult. If love felt inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, you may now crave unpredictable people. If love was conditional, you only received it when you behaved or succeeded, you might feel unworthy of unconditional love. If love felt overwhelming, you might avoid emotional closeness altogether. And here's the twist. These patterns feel normal to you because they're familiar, even if they hurt. The human mind would rather repeat a painful pattern it understands than walk into the unknown. To break the cycle, identify your patterns. Ask yourself, is this love or just a familiar wound? Rewire your beliefs. Love doesn't need to be earned through pain. Choose differently. Walk away from relationships that feel like emotional déjà vu. Real love doesn't feel like chaos. It feels like peace. And have you ever noticed you crave love the most when you feel the emptiest inside? That's exactly what we'll uncover in the next part. We've just uncovered a deep truth. You often crave love the most when you feel the emptiest inside, and from that place of emptiness, rejection cuts deeper, and overthinking what others think becomes a constant storm. This is the wound of unworthiness. The truth is, most people aren't really looking for love. They're looking for validation disguised as love. They don't want a partner. They want someone to prove they're enough. And that's why, when someone rejects them, it doesn't just feel like losing a person, it feels like losing their entire sense of worth. Carl Jung explained, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. So how do we heal this? Find fulfillment outside of relationships. If your happiness depends on someone else, you will always be emotionally fragile. Stop outsourcing your self-worth. Your value does not decrease because someone fails to see it. Remember, love is a mirror. The healthier your relationship with yourself, the healthier your relationships with others. Now let's talk about the number one mistake that keeps people stuck in painful love patterns. Waiting for someone else to heal you. They believe, when I find the right person, I'll finally feel whole. When someone loves me the right way, I won't feel lonely anymore. When I'm in a relationship, I'll finally be happy. But the hard truth is, no one can fix what you refuse to face. A relationship only magnifies what's already within you. If you feel empty alone, you'll still feel empty in love. If you don't trust yourself, you won't trust them. If you don't respect yourself, you'll tolerate disrespect. That's why so many people sabotage healthy love, because deep down, they don't believe they deserve it. So, what's the solution? Stop waiting to be saved. Become someone who doesn't need saving. Stop chasing love to fill your emptiness. Fill yourself first. Stop fearing loneliness. Learn to love your own company. And that's when something magical happens. Love stops being something you chase. It becomes something you naturally attract. If you've made it this far, you already understand. Love isn't about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person. Your relationships are a reflection of your inner world. Until you heal your wounds, you will continue to repeat them. Carl Jung left us with one final truth. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Real love transforms you, but only if you're ready. So I'll leave you with one final question. Are you truly ready for the love you say you want? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this message touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Make sure to subscribe, because next time, we're diving into the one mindset shift that will forever change how you see love.